strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnetdale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnetdale. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast with two queer trans women. It's us, we're wifey types. We talk about media, what we have consumed recently.
Nom, tasty media, but all new for 2026.
Oh, it's a whole new year, and probably the same general vibe of show.
I would imagine so.
I can't imagine any wild formula shake-ups at this moment.
No? You don't think after 360-something episodes we're suddenly gonna...
No, I think we're a bit too autistic for a wild shake-up out of nowhere. I think normal and routine and predictable is more our speed.
So I should cancel the freestyle jazz section.
If you want to do the freestyle jazz section, that's fine, but, you record that afterwards so that, the recording bit can stay the same.
Right.
And, you just go off and do your freestyle jazz afterwards and insert it in the
And the
edit.
balloon modelling?
Again...
Which I thought would make great audio.
Again, if you want to record that as a little epilogue and, splice it in, just no changes to the bit where I'm here saying words.
You don't want to make a giraffe with me?
It'd be
balloons.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how much time we have.
I see.
What have you been playing over the last few weeks?
Well, it's been a few things.
Yeah? Where did you want to start?
That's a good question. Where do I want to start? I guess I'll start here. Hello, here I am. Greetings. How's it going?
Wait,
we're doing a podcast. Hang on. All the way back, things we played Earthborn Rangers.
We did, yeah. This is one of the new games that we got over the festive period.
You got me a new game.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about Earthborn Rangers?
Earthborn Rangers is a recyclable campaign game.
Yeah.
I say this because I know two things about this game. One, that you deliver biscuits in the first mission.
Yep.
And two, that when you're done with it, because it is entirely made of recyclable materials, you can just take it in the garden and bury it. Probably don't do that, but you can do that.
Yeah. This is like a cozy little open world narrative adventure.
Yeah.
With some sort of freeform exploration elements.
Sort of eco-punk.
Yeah, light on the mechanical aspects. You sort of just explore a world, trying to do little kind of wholesome missions from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, there are, there's obviously only so much we've explored doing the prologue and the first, mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the prologue's quite interesting because one thing I had heard about this game is it can be quite difficult to build a deck that has any synergy or that is suitable for the world in which you will find yourself. Especially considering there won't be many options to, upgrade yourself. You're not going to get, tons of opportunities to basically, cycle out your starter deck and build towards something new and powerful.
Yeah, I appreciate that the prologue split building your character into multiple segments so that you built it a little at a time and It wasn't quite so overwhelming. But you were making a lot of those decisions without necessarily having a great deal of understanding of what would work with what would synergize with what the choices you were making fundamentally were going to mean before you made them.
Yes, because initially you are just sort of drawing cards which will have things written on them, and the game's sort of don't worry too much. What's your vibe, really? And we worked out fairly quickly that, we needed a good mix of symbols on our cards.
Yeah.
And, obviously that was quite an important thing, because you have a certain amount of your own energy in 4 different sort of skills. Be that, charisma, fitness, I think is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4 types of energy in 4 different colours.
How good are you at befriending animals, sneaking away from things you don't want to see you, traversing difficult environments, or what's the fourth one? Digging through your deck to find more stuff.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Those aren't the 4 energy types. Those are the 4 basic.
Sorry, yes, those
tests that you can do.
Yes, which
and they
is slightly
require
different from
an energy type and a symbol. So you have to spend at least 1 energy matching the type that you want to spend. And then you can spend any number of cards that have that symbol. And some of the cards might have things like, if you were successful in your, challenge, using this card, there is a way of, getting it back to your hand. Then, you might find different challenges that mix an energy type with an entirely different symbol because it's trying to say something different about what those things are. And I think that's a really interesting system. I like the way between the mixture of keywords and the energy types and the art, you get a lot more narrative than you might think is possible from just what is presented before you.
Yeah.
Like, this creature is specifically attracted to this area because there are, like, berry bushes. Or if this happens, or, like, if the weather's nice, and there's a doe on the board, a Sitka doe on the board, and a Sitka buck sees it, then they will charge towards it, potentially injuring the doe and the player who that doe is in front of.
Yeah.
Or there might be another creature that will sort of sit more generally out on the board, in the sort of nearby but not, like, close at hand. There's names of sections of, like, how far away something is. And that sort of thing that might go, if there's a prey animal on the board, it's just going to try and eat it. So it's going to sort of suck it away from in front of you, which you might think is quite handy, but maybe you wanted for something very specific. I found with my character, because of some of the choices I'd made, the game seemed to be pushing me towards a really efficient build. Like, I saw one way of, like, being able to do some really interesting things. It did mean me taking a card that could turn any animal into fungus.
Yes.
And then picking the fungus.
Yeah, you've
I was
got
like,
to
I don't want to be the cordyceps.
Yeah, you've got to kind of take over a creature and turn it into a mushroom facsimile you can harvest.
Yes.
But it was mechanically working for you.
Oh, I did. No. I've got, like, all the things that I can make tea out of vegetables and things from things I harvest. I never got the thing that I can turn things into mushrooms. Even though I felt that was probably the most efficient way to play this character. I was like, no, I just can't bring myself to be that in this supposedly, like, nice, friendly world. And maybe I'll live to regret that. Who knows? Maybe I won't live to regret that. Maybe I'll have to re-roll my character. But yeah, it's quite interesting. There's like the whole game takes place over a month, and a day in game consists of until you run out of cards or take too much injury, or you just go, we've done enough for now. We're going to camp for the night. And that's slightly different to just camping for a short rest to try and recover some cards and some energy. Yeah, it's hard to explain without giving a quite detailed tutorial. But suffice to say, I think it does a really interesting thing about storytelling that some of these sorts of games haven't necessarily done as well. And this one certainly feels like Act 2, it's a way more manageable experience that wants to tell a narrative and have you do all the exploring than something like Sleeping Gods. Because it does have, like, a book where you're looking up sort of people that you've met and places that you are and getting information about that and maybe doing some choose-your-own-adventure stuff depending on where you are or what the weather's like and things like that. But it doesn't ever feel as swampy as something like Sleeping Gods, mainly because you're not two people trying to wrangle 7 characters. You're just two people being two people who are like guardians of nature, and you look after people and you help people, and it's all good. What about you? What have you played?
We started learning how to play another game and did not get into a full game of it because we were both a little poorly over the holidays, which made some of the big game learnings a little challenging.
Yes.
But we started learning the Frostpunk board game.
We did.
The adaptation of the video game in which everything is ice and inhospitable and the universe wants you dead from the elements.
Yes, and I realised that this is thematically... Because I played the video game, but I don't remember much about the theme beyond it cold.
Yeah.
I realised reading the manual for this, thematically, this is, what if Brass Birmingham got snowed in?
Yes.
Post-apocalyptic, snowed in Brass Birmingham. We spent 5 hours setting the game up.
Which will be easier now that we've got, like, the inserts and things organised.
I got an insert because...
Yeah.
I very often find with a really heavy game and this is possibly the heaviest game we own, I find that if setup takes too long, I dread getting it out of the box. And, like, I had to build my own insert for Spirit Island to stop that being the case for that game. And it's still one that I will, depending on how tired I am, just go, I'm just going to play something else.
Yeah. So Frostpunk, I have to remember not Frosthaven, that's a different one, we'll talk about that in a bit, but Frostpunk...
Because we did that too.
Is very much like you've got this big tower, and you're basically...
Generator.
You've got a whole bunch of different meters for, like, different ways that your community could collapse based on, like, these communities of people, is their morale too low? Have too many people died off? Are too many people hungry?
Yep. Are these areas heated?
Yeah, so you're trying to scramble through with limited number of turns, spinning a lot of plates and keeping lots of plates spinning. So it's like, am I generating enough coal to put in the heater to keep everywhere warm? Have we made enough beds to get people warm for the night? Have we got enough food coming in to keep everyone fed? But maybe the most interesting mechanic of the early ones that we got a chance to check out was the way that coal works with the tower. Because you drop your coal in the top of the tower, and instantly you get the reward of heating everything up.
Yep.
But then at the end of a day, you have to open a little drawer and find out how much of the coal that you inserted made it to the bottom, because there's a whole bunch of little ledges.
It's like a baffle system. It's like an anti, dice tower.
Yeah. So, if you put 3 coal in and only 1 comes out, hooray, that's a good day for you. You've only got, like, 1 bit of damage done to your...
Not put too much stress on the generator.
Yeah. That's great for today that, like, only a third of the coal you put in actually went into, like, straightening the system.
Tomorrow you might knock something loose.
Yeah, that other 2 coal is still in there, and you might only put 1 coal in tomorrow, but get 3 coal out, because that other coal's waiting to jam up the system. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really interesting...
It really is.
You can have a good day, but that good day is going to come back to haunt you later.
Yep.
And I think that's very cool.
And of the, I think, 5 different ways to lose this game, one of them is... if the generator gets too full of coal, which I think is 8 coal, if the generator gets too full of stress, rather, which is represented as 8 coal cubes, it blows, but can be repaired. If it blows again, then that's game over. Also, too many people can starve. You can have too much despair over hope. You can have people starving. All sorts of stuff. All the usual good, fun, happy times of Frostpunk, the video game. I feel like this game does a better job than something like this War of Mine, another fairly bleak board game, in that at least, while the rules are complicated, they very much remind me of Lord of the Rings, War of the Rings 2nd Edition, in their, just the way they're written, and the font, and the spacing choices. And I get it, it's dense, it's a dense manual, so you've probably got to get in as much as possible before it gets, novel-sized. But it doesn't do any of the stuff like this War and Rhyme board game, which was like, do you want to look up the rules? Well, you'll have to dig through all of it, because the rules are revealed as you play the game, so you might be looking back and forth through this whole fucking manual trying to find exactly the bit you're trying to get information about. I did think it was quite interesting, and maybe this would be a good thing in 4-player, that there are like specific characters that you're playing, and you're given a rule sheet that on the back has like all of the general actions and things like that, and explanations on what different buildings do. But on the front, it has very specifically broken down between the 4 characters of, here are the things you're in charge of. So during X section, you're going to read this information from one of the boards, because there's many, and you're going to read that out loud and explain it to another tell another person who might be, putting coal in the generator, or making sure that enough, like the food track has been adjusted as necessary. And it is very much there's going to be one person who's very specifically in charge of this thing, but during this phase, they might be talking to someone else saying, okay, can you adjust this? Can you adjust that? So everyone is kind of included, and it tries to spread that information out. But I do think that as a result of the fact that it only breaks it down onto 4 separate things, and then you've got 2 separate characters, it might be, okay, I'm telling myself to do this thing, but in this case, I'm telling the other person to do a thing, and it gets a bit more confusing, and at that point, it does just feel better to just go, we're going to revert to the manual, and, like, one person's going to read from the manual, and the other person might make the changes, or whatever is closest, because this is a table hog. We have a fairly sized living room table, thanks to the fact that it unfolds. Thanks, £10 from the charity shop. But even with most of the table fully extended and barely any of it just other stuff. We had snacks and shit on the table.
Yeah.
Barely any of it was other stuff, and it still felt like we were just kept having to go, oh, we're going to have to move this a little bit. We're going to have to move this back a little bit more. We just need just a little bit more space. Just a little bit more space.
And it was complicated a little bit by the fact that we found places where things were convenient to put, and then it turned out that each of you is meant to be, it has like a flowchart of the things you're responsible for doing in the various phases of the game. Yeah, they weren't necessarily near the various people. It's like, okay.
And then on top of that, we had, we'd set up all of the boards around the table, and we thought we'd set up all of the card areas. And then it was like, okay, now you're going to draw a card from this deck, and you're going to place it next to the board thusly. It's like, well, we don't have any space thusly. Thank you very much.
That all said, it wasn't as scary as of a learn as it felt like it was going to be.
No, we didn't play a full round. We played from the point you start round 1 at to the end of round 1. Before my brain went, I need to stop. I am full of slime.
I'm excited to give it another go, but also, we started. And then both acknowledged we are ill.
We were ill, and it had been 5 hours already. And I just wanted to lie down in an easy win and a lemsip.
But you know what we did play a bunch of during the break? We played a bunch of Frosthaven.
We did. We played like 20 missions.
This is that top-down cooperative dungeon crawly game with city management steps in between.
Yeah.
That we've been playing with the same, as part of the same group of 4 people. We've been playing this for
2.5, nearly 3 years.
2.5, 3 years, and we're still working through the story.
Yeah.
Maybe twice a year, we will go visit these friends, and for 3 to 6 days, we will just sit and play this from, like, breakfast through to dinner.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're making real good progress on it.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like we are not impossibly far from the end.
Yeah, I still reckon it's going to take us through 2026 into 2027.
Maybe.
Like, I reckon maybe mid-2027 we might get through it, but, like, it feels like we're past the hurdle and working toward the end.
Yes. Like, we've befriended all 3 of the major factions.
Yeah.
So, like, the only time they now show up is just, like, random missions. And even then it feels kind of weird because of all the work we've done befriending them and stuff. We're working our way through, like, puzzle book things. We made a huge chunk out of the puzzle book.
Yes.
Turned out we had, like, missed opportunities to solve many of those puzzles.
We'd dipped our toes in and out of it looking at it in previous visits, but this was the one where, like, we buckled down, and as soon as we'd solved, like, the first puzzle, it just kind of was on the back burner for a day. There was a day, maybe a day and a half of, no, we can do this.
Well, we did a good chunk of it.
That first one with that first word is correct, why is the rest of this not correct?
Yes, that was a particularly tricky cipher.
That took some getting, but I was very proud when we got there.
You should be. I'm proud of you for working it out. I can, however, see why certain people who wanted to play this just as a dungeon crawling game
might not be able to stand that book.
Have gone, I do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Tell me when to open the next part of the thing, and I will do that. And good on people on Board Game Geek. They have done good things in that they have basically made hey, once you've done this mission,
yeah,
add this in 3 weeks' time and read the solution to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And they've managed to do it in such a way that it spaces out, I think, across 3, maybe 4 years in-game. And does a good job of being like, hey, we're not gonna like make you feel bad for not being able to solve the puzzle, or not being interested enough to sit down and grind your brains over that. That's fine.
Yeah. From what I can tell, finishing the puzzle book might be mandatory, and yeah, I can see for some people that being a point of frustration.
Yeah.
We've really dug it. Like, that first
I think it helps there's 4 of us who variously are interested in different types of puzzles and ciphers and things.
I remember really fondly that first New Year's visit, I think it was, where we first got the puzzle book and, like, had the whiteboard in the kitchen with our, like, trying to come up with our translation.
Substitution cipher.
And it's been really fun, like, every now and then, something clicks and having that moment. Like, one of our friends was translating a thing in the background during one of our missions, and every now and then we get a few more words of translation and be like, ooh. Yeah. I enjoy having it there. It's not going to be for everyone.
No, and also from the point of view of being the person who does most of the setup and teardown of the actual missions, I did get a little bit and is also doing like the minute to minute, even though we've got the app, like the minute to minute, like working the app to work monsters and stuff. There was a point where I was getting quite frustrated because I was like, I've got an idea, I think I know a thing, and going to pick up whichever book it was I think I needed to reference, filtering through to find the pages, like, oh no, gotta stop that, do a thing. And then by the time I come back, having sort of lost the momentum of where my thoughts were going, to the point where we got to the end of that mission, I was like, I'm not setting anything up until I have sat down and thought this thing through. Yeah. Meanwhile, I've got the rest of you going, we're working on this, we've almost got a solution to this thing. It's like, I haven't even considered that puzzle.
What, in future, would it be good to have, like, a signal that if you do the signal, it's like, cool, I take the app and I handle the app for a bit so that you can have some brain space between rounds to be like, I want to work on.
Who knows if it will even come up again.
Yeah, I getcha. But yeah, we had a little bit of swapping around of characters people were playing as.
Yeah, we retired a few people. We got some building work done.
We unlocked some new characters that people are excited to try out when they get a chance. I've been continuing to play the Blink Blade, going between fast and slow mode, and that's been...
This is your second Blink Blade.
Yeah, I didn't intend to retire the Blink Blade as early as I did. The first couple of characters who had retirements, they did their task and then they like got a quest they could do whenever they wanted to, at their leisure. And I assumed my character my Blink Blade was the same, and then it was like, nope, you're playing someone else now. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, you could have played a different Blink Blade.
Yeah, but it felt...
But you did have to retire Zip Zaldop.
Yeah, and it felt weird, so I was like, okay, I'll try someone new. I finally came back around to the Blink Blade, and I want to play them through to level 9. I'm really enjoying playing them in a sort of... I sacrifice a little of my options to help, to offer a little else around the table. Like, if I slow down, I can put my speed other places, and that's been pretty fun. I've also been enjoying the burn the midnight oil strategy of, for a few turns, I can play more cards than I'm supposed to, and they'll activate their abilities multiple times, and the consequences will come later, but for now, I get to do everything.
Yeah, that's been interesting to see. I'm obviously can't say who, because they're one of the characters that start locked. I've been playing a really interesting class who are just I mean, maybe it's just the build I've got, but it is monumentally tanky. Like, I spend a lot of time setting up for things, but even in the meantime while I'm setting up, I've got so much HP that it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
So I'll spend a decent amount of time just like, I'll set up a couple of things, and then it's got this whole sort of mechanic that sort of comes in waves. So as you're playing through your deck, you're getting more and more and more and more powerful, and then you come to retire, and all of that power sort of washes away, and you have to like slowly start rebuilding it. It helps that I've got to a point now with that character where if ever I do a long rest, I automatically get some shield. So, like, I'm not completely vulnerable while that's happening. And then just the fact that everyone's been quite nippy recently.
Yeah.
Which has meant that it's sort of like, well, there were a couple of times in like the last few missions that we did where I was going, okay, well, I need to have a rest, long or short, at this point. Fuck it, I'll have a long rest because I'll be able to use all my items again.
Mm.
And then just like in the meantime, everyone had killed everything, so it didn't matter. It wasn't really causing a problem. And then by the time I was back up, other people were going, well, I need to have my rest now because I'm running a bit behind. And me being like, okay, well, time to start just stomping around and fucking things up. Because part of one of the cards I've got is for all of your like semi-permanent like build-up power cards you've got out. You can do like a hit of X, where X is
how many of those
you've got. And it's like, oh yeah, this feels good.
That's it. You take a little ramping up, but once you're ramped up in mode, you hit like a fucking truck, and you can take some punches.
And I've just hit level 9 with that character, and got a new card that basically 2 of those like ramp up cards I can retrieve from my lost pile, not my discard, my lost pile.
Yeah.
So even though I've had like 2 rest cycles in order to get that running, I can then pull them back out and then keep them permanently on the board. So as long as my card that lets me play 3 cards per turn instead of just the usual 2 is in that pile, by the time I'm coming into my like third run through the deck, I can, because that's usually my biggest setup, like get the thing that lets me play 3 cards just straight into the deck. It's like, oh, that's a good one, that.
Yeah.
If I can get that really, like, permanently stuck out for as long as possible, as quickly as possible, that basically means that I can just be super efficient for everyone else.
Yeah.
Even though it might seem like playing 3 cards at once is gonna run through my deck way quicker, it doesn't always work out that way, which I appreciate.
I, as someone who's also been playing around with playing more than 2 cards in a turn.
Yeah, up to 4 for you.
Yeah, so I have a thing that for like, I think for 4 rounds allows me to play an extra card, and then one of the cards in my deck, if I play it, it does a heal, and then allows me to sacrifice a time token to play an additional card on top. So if I use that specific card and that 4-round ability, I can play a 4-card round. A few times, which can get interesting.
What's your hand size?
My deck size is, I think, like 12.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not the smallest, not the biggest.
Nope, same as
but
mine, though.
I've got some flexibility of, like, I burn bright, and then I gotta play real conservative, but I don't have a lot of, you know how a lot of the characters have, like, cards that get trashed to do, like, one big hit? I really don't have those. The only ones I have that go straight to the lost pile are the ones that, like, for 3 or 4 rounds will be out and will do a thing. And there's only really 2 of those that I play around with. The rest of my deck doesn't do a big thing for a lost action. It's more manage your time tokens to do your big hits. And I'm like, okay, yeah, and that makes my remaining cards stick around better.
It's also been interesting seeing that one of the characters I had played through previously, coming back with somebody else playing them and seeing how they manage that.
And how much they've been enjoying them.
Yeah, they seem to be enjoying it, and just the power of hitting like a truck. I think the Drifter is a fascinating character, and it's interesting to see how other people play it in ways that make you go, yeah, that's a really cool character.
Yeah.
And initially I'd been a bit like, oh, do I really want to play the Drifter? They're listed as one of the most basic classes, but there is so much strategy you can put into that character.
Yeah.
Once you learn how it all works, and I think that's really interesting. What about you?
What else? We played a game that we got given as a festive gift. We tried a board game called T-Witches.
We did!
Which is...
Not Twitches.
T-Witches! It's, the artwork's adorable on this board game.
It is. It reminds me very much of the Flamecraft art.
Yeah. So the idea here is you are trying to run a popular tea shop for witches.
During a tea festival.
And it is like a lightweight worker placement game where you have your little living tea pups teapot dogs that you can send to go and, like, get ingredients, be that flavors of tea or toppings to go on the tea.
Yes.
And
they'll pretty much always be getting some shade of tea.
Yeah.
But wherever you place them, there might be an opportunity for getting toppings as well.
Yeah, or other things that might be, like, equipment to go in your, like, so that you can do things like storing more tea at one time.
Yeah, little upgrades for your...
or that will duplicate or transform the resources you have a bit. Maybe it'll get you celebrity visitors that'll be a little harder to please, but come with cool benefits. And you're trying to make this sort of sustainable loadout where you are pleasing as many witches with tea as possible, but those witches will then try and come back the next day, and you're going, can I keep all of them happy as well, plus have some overhead to feed some new witches and have some new returning customers who I'm going to have to deal with tomorrow as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the customers that you've made loyal, you can at least give them a loyalty reward voucher, and they'll be satisfied with that. But the new ones you've drawn in this sort of push your luck game of drawing out of a random deck, there's stuff in there that can be, like, much more tricky, and I think that's quite interesting, like, because firstly you've got your Trash Witch, who makes you draw 2 cards, which, depending on where that happens, can be quite dangerous and potentially, like, fuck you up, like it did for me on the first day.
Yes, because this has that push your luck element of you can't have 2 witches waiting in line who have the same element.
Same faction, yeah.
Of the same faction, yes. So you're trying to draw extra witches because they'll give you bonuses, but not draw so many that you have 2 of the same faction and then you lose a bunch of your witches.
Indeed.
And their associated bonuses, which sucks.
Indeed. It's got a nice little sort of Lazy Susan style board element.
Oh yeah.
Where you are, you're like able to, as an action, place your teapup and then rotate the board to any position. And then depending on which type of tea is in front of you, you can refill your teapup with that type of tea, be it green tea or herbal tea, dark, light, floral, and spicy, I think, is all of them. And, there's some really interesting stuff there, with, like, the different witches, the different decks, the specialities, which can be cards that you have that have special abilities, or if you don't ever use them, they're worth victory points at the end. You've got the to-go orders, which are just little orders that don't have, like, a specific card that's going to come back as a loyalty. But if you can fulfill it, then you get to, like, flip it over and keep it, and that card is worth victory points depending on how complicated it was to fulfill. There's some really interesting stuff in there. And the friends that gave it to us made some cute, really cute little tokens that are, like, custom versions of...
Happy little teeth.
We've got happy little teeth made of, like, Fimo.
Yeah.
And they look adorable, and I love that they're all different.
They all have very unique personalities, these little teeth, and I love them. I love every one of them.
I almost immediately made a grid out of them and posted it to the Discord of, like, tag yourself, I'm B7. Yeah.
So yeah, that's board gamey stuff we were playing during the break.
Yeah. We also played Majora's Mask through again.
Yeah, we did our annual playthrough a Zelda game, and this time it was Majora's Mask, which neither of us has played in, I'm going to say, about a decade?
2017 we last played.
So yeah, 9 years.
Yeah.
This is only your second time seeing it through to the end.
Indeed.
How was this replay for you?
I think it loses something in a replay in that it feels like to get through it, you really want to kind of be efficient. And that means that you might occasionally go, I want to do a little bit of exploration, I want to do a little bit of this. It's like, yes, but then the days will run out of time and we'll have to restart X number of things. So, certainly, at least as far as the final dungeon, it didn't really feel like we were getting a lot of... the moon being inside the moon.
Yeah.
That final dungeon, it really felt like we were just like, okay, we have to do these things in this order, at this time, and be efficient with time. Otherwise, we are just gonna have to basically start the whole 3-day cycle, and it feels like a waste, which didn't leave as much time for, like, getting a bit lost and going for a little adventure and finding something maybe you hadn't seen before. And we did see a couple of things that you hadn't seen before, which was quite interesting.
Yeah. I apologise if I min-maxed it too much in any regard.
I min-maxed it as well. I was like, no, I mean, we need to get X, Y, Z as well as possible.
It's one of my favourite games in this series, but it is one that, like, I've played enough times that, like, part of what I have found myself enjoying at this point with it, and I recognise I'm at a very different point in my Majora's Mask journey to you, is things like, can I work out enough ways to get an entire extra heart from, like, finding 4 heart containers before encountering the Skull Kid for the first time? Failed to do it, but worked out how to get 3 heart containers on the first day, not just 3 pieces of heart. Didn't start doing the visit the little shrub, the Deku shrubs running their game that you have to play their game 3 days in a row. Didn't do that.
Yeah, I think we
enough.
did the first. No, I think we did the first day, and then didn't get a heart piece, and went, oh, I thought it was a heart piece from this, and then like kind of forgot about it, and then we ended up looking in a guide, and it was like, you have to do all 3 days. It's like, fuck, we got to that.
Because it was realising, like, oh, well, we can get the one from the Deku Shrub game, we can get the one that's on the clock tower, we can get the one by taking the deed for the plot near the clock tower, sneaking into the hotel and giving it to the hand in the toilet.
Yeah.
So that's 3. If I can find one more, get an extra heart on the first day. Oh, yeah. I'm getting nitty-gritty like that with it, which... as you say, and I acknowledge, is a little less of the futzing around, finding it as we go vibe.
Yes. Which, especially coming off the back of me having recently played through Ocarina of Time, and going, I know this game pretty well.
Yeah.
But not super well, and just being able to, like, be a bit inefficient and forget things, and just, because there isn't that time constraint of, go, you have to, like, correct this. But as we got sort of towards the end and sort of let ourselves breathe a little more, especially after the, was it the last mission, the last dungeon, where I nearly took so long to finish it that we,
Don't put the blame on yourself there, we nearly took too long doing it.
I did most of that dungeon.
I did most of the upside down half of it. We did it in 2 halves, But yes, that is the one where we were running up toward the end of the 3rd day, and we'd found all but one of the fairies, and we hadn't beaten the boss yet. And I got it in my head. I had my hands on the controller, and I was like, I can get that last fairy, and beat the boss, and hand in the fairy reward, all before this clock runs out. I'm determined to do it. It was...
Because it was like, we were just like, oh, well, maybe we'll not lose it. And you just went, can you look up what the reward is for this one? I was like, oh yeah, I'll find out. And it's like, Great Fairy Sword? And you were like, okay, yeah, we have to get this.
It's a cool sword. I'm not letting the cool sword go.
And to be fair, I did end up using it a few times.
Yeah, it mainly, I remember, I did really enjoy that tense end of trying to solve that dungeon. In that, like, watching, we're within, like, 2 in-game hours of the end of the final day, and it's not even got, like, the heart of the semicircle counter anymore, it's, like, just actual numbers, and I'm trying to fight the Molduga boss, and being like, I
haven't got any magic, shit, we didn't get any, like, magic jars before we came in here.
Yeah, having to do my best to be like, I'm not gonna let this die, and to our credit, we got it done.
Yeah. I don't think it helped that we did the Akana Canyon, I think we did the castle.
Yeah, we forgot.
And we forgot to reset the time after that, so we were like then trying desperately to get through.
And that's the thing.
Stone
That's
Tower.
the thing that I think like we got to give ourselves credit for is we did Under the Well, the castle with the sort of that throne room boss at the end, climbed up to the stone temple, did the stone temple and all the fairies, and cashed the fairies in all in a 3-day cycle.
Yeah.
We squeezed a lot in.
We did.
Yeah. But it was lovely to revisit.
It was, yeah, and the ending's really sweet.
Yeah.
That was the Adventures of Lint.
That was the Adventures of Lint.
Yeah. So, have you played anything else?
I think that's about it. That'll do for this bit.
Well then.
Time for this.
Okay, boys. So, it looks like my employees are going out for some annual leave, some paid vacation, I see.
Oh, yeah, boss.
So, I think this calls for all you joins to get out there. Get out there and get 'em.
Oh, gonna ruin their whole break, boss.
That's right, you're gonna get 'em all infected. Get 'em all infected, say? And then they'll relate being off work to being sick, so they'll never stop working. They'll never stop working for fear of getting sick, say?
That's a great idea, boss.
I know, I'm a genius. No, well, this is what, I guess this is recompense for the fact that I made sure that you don't get them sick during work, because they gotta work, see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Laura.
Yes?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, are you finding it brutally cold out?
It's very brutally cold out.
Have you noticed wispy snow falling down?
All around us.
All around us. Have you been waking up? I'm going icy brr.
Icy burr.
Slippy.
That's dangerous out.
It is.
I'd like to go outside, but it's dangerous underfoot.
It is. Like, it's fair enough all the main roads have been salted.
Yeah.
We haven't been salted.
I can't.
No salt. It's very
I can't
dangerous.
walk in the middle of the road where it got salted. That's where cars go. I've got to
Indeed.
walk on the pavement where it's still icy.
It's very
I
icy.
can't risk that.
No, you can't.
There's got to be a better way.
There is. This week's sponsor is self-salting shoes.
Ooh.
They're the safest way to walk on icy days. Fill up the soles, the little salt
I see
hoppers,
the little reservoir, yeah.
the little salt reservoir in there, and you're off you go. Little stompy, slow release salt.
I see.
Everywhere you go.
A little bit of salt with every footstep.
Yeah.
I see no problems with this design.
None whatsoever. Salty shoes. Everywhere you go. No slippies.
Yeah. I don't know how appreciated it's going to be when I get to my destination and I'm walking around the supermarket leaving salt everywhere. But
I'm sure people will appreciate it. You don't want to slip over in a supermarket.
well, exactly. That's free salt. They can't complain at free salt.
Exactly. So that's selfsaltingshoes.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS, no slippy, and you can get 15% off your first pair of self-salting shoes, and they will throw in a 3-kilo bag of grit and salt.
Ooh.
So, what have you put in your eyes or ears?
Oh, we watched some really good stuff.
Oh, we
over the
did.
break.
Some of it twice.
Yeah, should we start with Pluribus? Should we get Pluribus out of the way?
Sure.
Pluribus is bloody great.
It is.
I have no interest in giving Apple money, but
Nope.
Apple TV continue to make really good, gripping, slightly sci-fi, tense dramas.
I appreciate that they haven't got to the enshittification bit yet.
Yeah, so Pluribus season 1 is out. We started watching it right in time to we watched all but the finale, and then a day later the finale came out.
Yeah.
It is a show in which a signal has been detected from space, and scientists are like, the fuck is this?
Hang on, it's RNA.
It's RNA. Well, something's trying to contact us from space. It would be rude not to show an interest in what they've sent us.
Yeah.
Oh, what they've sent us is a virus that is going to make all of humanity into a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Except for 13 people.
Yep.
One of whom is Carol. She's our sort of prospective character.
Yep.
Who is a little fucking freaked out when suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, everyone on the planet is one hive mind.
And her wife's dead.
Her wife is dead and everyone's talking in unison, and she wants to freak out about the end of the world, but she can't because the end of the world is people very gently putting things back together and being very nice and organised.
And also, if she shouts at them, they all start having a seizure collectively. And
yeah,
many of them might die if they happen to be flying planes or driving cars.
a lot of this season has real interesting controlling unhealthy relationship vibes.
Yes.
Because I thought about that. I keep thinking about that the first time that Carol shouts at them and 11 million people die. It's like, oh, okay, so you're just not allowed to express your emotions at this incredibly overwhelming thing that you have every right to be angry about.
Yeah.
It's your fault if you get angry.
It's like that situation where a toxic person tells you that's triggering and I've put a hard limit on us discussing that, and what the hard limit is on discussing perfectly rational things that are personally affecting you in your relationship.
It's your fault I broke all your favourite things. You shouted at me. If you hadn't shouted at me, I wouldn't have broken all your favourite things.
Yeah,
so it's your
there's a
fault.
hard limit on shouting at me.
I really find Carol a fascinating protagonist.
She is, because she gives real Karen vibes, but at the same time, by virtue of the fact that she went through, like, conversion therapy camp, I can see how someone surrounded by smiling people going, "We love you. We just want to help you.
We're doing this because you'll be happier after we forcibly change you from who you are."
I can see how there would be resistance to that.
Carol is a great example of a character who you genuinely could not recast as a different gender, ethnicity, age, location.
Right.
She really has to be the character she is.
Yeah.
Because she is this beautiful cocktail of she is one of the only rich, white, North American people not to be in the hive mind, and that sets her aside from the other unincorporated people, because they all come largely from societies that have much less of a focus on individualism, and much more of a sort of community culture basis that's going to, like, change how they view the hive mind.
Yeah, but also I think it helps that of those people, with one obvious exception, they have family.
Yes.
And that obviously there is that connection to that, and maybe things would have been different for Carol if Helen had survived.
But again, like, she's from a background that is going to be so specifically keyed in for individualism.
Oh, yes.
She has no one left because of, like, she's lost more than most when the hive mind happens. But also, again, it's so easy to see her as, like, being very Karenish until you go, actually, this is very analogous to the fact that she went through conversion therapy. Yeah. And, like, 100%, it is that same exact kind of insidiousness. The fact that, like, the hive mind continually talks about respecting her consent right up until
planning to not do that.
While actively planning how they're going to take her consent away.
Yeah.
It is such a well-written and performed show.
Yeah.
Brilliant pacing.
Yep.
I don't want to say too much, I love the other protagonist that gets introduced,
a fascinating mirror for Carol.
The character I assume is going to be the dual protagonist of season 2, I love so much.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by the way the hive mind behaves in terms of its seemingly consistent until it's not rule set that it follows.
Mm-hmm.
The people-pleasing to a fault nature of it is fascinating.
Yes. To its own detriment. To
its own lack of self-preservation.
Seemingly?
Yeah, this really is up there with Severance in being one of those shows where I'm like, I just want to recommend it to everyone that I see.
Yeah.
It's such a good first season.
And speaking of hotness, we watched some of Heated Rivalry.
Yeah, we watched a couple of episodes of Heated Rivalries, which is a gay ice hockey show.
Yeah, it's an anime, but live action, but not one of the shit ones.
It's the thing that is kind of scratching the itch that was left by Yuri on Ice never getting a second season. It's definitely a
way more immediate sex.
Yeah, it's got a bit more immediate sex, it's got a bit more testosterone to it.
Yeah.
It is a live action show about two ice hockey players playing for two different American teams. One of them is a Russian player, and one is Canadian, I think.
I believe so.
And this sort of forbidden romance of, like, for understandable reasons, both of them are a little cautious about being out as gay.
Yep. And there's the rivalry aspect, obviously.
Yeah, the tension that comes from we're really into each other, but that has to be very separate from us on the ice and what that is.
Also that one of them is Russian and it has a well-connected family and having to be obviously very careful.
There is some very interesting exploration of the dynamic between two people who are both very different levels of experience sexually, but also who are both very clearly vying for a bit of power in that relationship. That's really interesting.
Everybody wants to top in this relationship.
Look, they're both in direct competition on the ice, and that maybe translates a little to the bedroom. I really like how the two lead characters are written. They're very sweet, and they're very... Even in the times where I'm frustrated and I kind of want to wring your neck a little bit at them, I understand where they come from.
Or when they're doing that thing that you get with some couples where they bully each other.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me, but I understand that there's sometimes things that people actually who like each other, it turns out, do it, and it's okay, apparently. I just think it's weird. No bullying, only love.
Indeed.
Yeah, so what more can I say about that? If you want to see naked butts, there's a good number of those.
There is a good number of those.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else we watched that was a thing that has had very mixed reviews, but we were very, very positive about? We watched The War Between the Land and the Sea.
We did. It was an interesting time to watch that. A time of peace and goodwill to all. Because that's not what I felt after the last episode of that show.
So this is loosely a Doctor Who spun-off
It's in the
show.
Whoniverse.
Yeah.
With, it's got Unit in it,
yeah,
and it's got Sea Devils.
Kate Lethbridge-Stewart is a prominent character. But the idea is, hey, humanity becomes aware of the existence of an aquatic sort of person race.
Mersons, if you will.
And they agree to have, let's have diplomatic talks, and very quickly the aquatic people go, hey, you've absolutely decimated the waters in which we live.
In fact, here, as a greeting, are my dead children.
Yeah, go drink a glass of water out of the Thames. Oh, you won't do it because it's too diseased and poisoned. Point fucking made. We live in that shit. No,
we will not settle for you 50% reducing the amount of pollution in 50 years.
It is, in part, a legal and political drama with we've picked someone who is not a lawyer or a politician to be the face of very difficult conversations about humanity's future.
Well, we didn't pick them. They picked them.
Well, yeah, they picked them, yes. It's part that. It's part love story. It's part...
monster fucking.
It's part monster fucking. It's part gender flipped the shape of water.
Oh, yes.
It is heavy as all hell.
Yep.
It does not portray humanity in a positive light. I think
I did spend most of the last episode going, fucking humans.
Right, it is exactly the ending. It is an ending that does not lean too heavily into a romanticized view of humanity and goes, honestly, with where we are at as a species right now, this is probably the ways we would fuck this up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we as a society, as a species, are not ready to come together for the collective good and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
The absolute fucking brutality that is the ending of this.
Mm-hmm.
Devastating. I can see how the shift to romance might not be for everyone, how the dark as fuck ending might not be for everyone. It was a cathartic and very well written, very well paced watch. Fucking loved Kate Lethbridge-Stewart right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That last couple of minutes was just enough levity to have me not walking away miserable.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I hope that despite the way a lot of people have talked about it, that they do take the time to be a bit more daring with wider Whoniverse stuff, especially outside of Big Finish. Obviously, Big Finish takes huge swings all the time. And I've heard a lot of people complaining about the fact that this seemed like a rip-off of a Torchwood story, The Children of Men, or Children of Mankind, I think, something like that, from a long time ago, and that did it better. But I haven't seen that, so I just enjoyed this.
If I've seen it, it's been long enough that I don't remember it, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing we watched was the SpongeBob movie.
We did! Yeah.
Far more jokes about shitting a brick than I'd expect for a kid's movie. But...
yeah, shitting bricks was a recurrent theme. there are definitely a couple of places where I thought the plot was, like, quite obviously going, then it didn't. But it was well-paced, it was pretty funny. I had a way more enjoyable time with it than I expected to.
You're not bemoaning the fact that I dragged you out to this, then?
No. We went out at the start of the holiday to be like, it's a thing to do at the house, and I came away going, sometimes you watch a children's animated film and it feels a little farmed in because they're like, it's for children, we can get away with being a little lazy and it'll be fine. This felt like it was making an effort.
Yeah.
It felt like a children's film that wasn't using the fact its audience is children to go, that lets us get away with not making an effort on it.
No, and did that thing that I think all good kids' TV/movies do, which is just having some entirely innocuous jokes for the adults to enjoy. But, like, kids aren't necessarily going to get that.
Yeah, there was a few of them that we looked at each other and went, oh.
There was a few where we were just laughing at stuff, and you'd hear, like, slightly confused laughter from behind. Kids doing the, I'm joining in with the laugh, but I'm not entirely sure why I'm laughing.
Yeah. Surprisingly fun time. Even if it did make me realise that SpongeBob is weirdly in the same camp as the Smurfs, in that it is a franchise that feels terrified of the idea of doing an animated cinema movie that doesn't at some point go to the real world with real humans.
I mean, I know the only other SpongeBob movie I've seen did do the same, but at least they're not riding at David Hasselhoff like a speedboat this time. I mean, my biggest complaint about this film is the texturing on SpongeBob.
Oh, the thing with the hole with the holes.
Yeah, so SpongeBob's like deeper holes are just a like semi-transparent shadow layer, and it sits above the like texture layer of the rest of him. So as his mouth moves, you can see like the little smaller holes moving underneath this thing, and it just looks a bit naff. But other than that, I really quite liked the way that they managed to do the 3D, that they just kind of look like toys. And I feel like that hasn't always been the case for a lot of, we need to make 3D models of these 2D cartoons. I thought they did it really well. But that whole texture thing was bugging me throughout the entire movie. Mark Hamill, an excellent villain.
Yes. We also watched a animated film that was charming, it was very fun, was an arseache to be able to watch in the UK. We watched Lesbian Space Princess.
We did.
A charming animated, 2D animated film about a lesbian space princess
who's just broken up with her girlfriend.
Yep, who is a motorcycle riding bounty hunter. And then these straight white Malians kidnap her ex, and she's gotta get over her insecurities and go on a rescue mission.
Yeah.
It is.
She's kind of a shut-in. She's kind of anxious and doesn't really go out much, but she was very happy to be dating a cool motorcycle riding bounty hunter.
She makes some decisions that are very rooted in being that kind of early finding yourself young adult lesbian.
Yeah.
Whether they're all great choices or not, very understandable ones that I think there's a lot of humanity in.
Yeah.
Very funny. I enjoyed the Auntie Donna folks being the straight white Malians.
Yes, yeah, they did that part very well, and I spotted Jordan. I can't remember her surname.
Recopolis,
formerly of Axis of Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Now streamer, I guess. Is probably what she's best known for.
I quite enjoyed the emotional journey of the the spaceship.
Yes, the problematic spaceship.
The problematic ship that did go on a journey.
Yeah.
It's a real warming watch, that film. And
I know that you had problems with the fact that it had been described as sort of like
Rick and Morty meets Sailor Moon was, I think, the description.
Apparently that is something that the creators put out.
Yeah, I think that kind of missells it. I don't think it's as lol so random or gross for the sake of gross as a Rick and Morty.
Indeed.
I think that the Sailor Moon, it's really, there's one like very short sequence that I get that's what they're referencing to. None of the humor or the narrative is necessarily revolutionary or things that haven't been done before, but it is really nice to get a queer story that gets to do those things, and it's just a really nice watch.
Yeah.
What about you? You put anything else in your eyes or ears?
I read a bunch of comic books. There was a Humble Bundle for a bunch of comic books, and you managed to get my tablet working again.
I did. I fixed it.
You did, and I appreciate that. So I read Bitch Planet Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is your first time reading Bitch Planet, right?
It is. I know it's obviously quite important to you because you have your non-compliant tattoo.
Yeah. How would you explain this to anyone who doesn't know Bitch Planet?
What if men crushed feminism by sending all the women who weren't who
were quote non-compliant,
who weren't willing to just be tradwife?
Yeah.
Seen and not heard.
If you're not happy to be in The Handmaid's Tale, you go to the space prison.
Go to the space prison, where you might be put into death game for sports and entertainment. And the first 2 volumes basically cover everything from sort of setting up and explaining Bitch Planet and some how the Council of Men, I can't remember what they're called, and how women who remain on Earth are expected to react, and sort of the tiny little things that can get someone basically black bagged and sent to the non-compliant planets, and then
the incredibly narrow definition of womanhood that this world sort of exists around.
Yes, are you too fat? Is your hair wrong? Are you wearing too many colours? Are you not obeying every man you see? Are you?
Yes.
Are you not striving to stay thin? Are you not? Are you complaining about literally anything? You can be reported by your friends and neighbours. Real fashion shit. And the men seemingly prepared to eat themselves. For power and sort of a political motion. Because obviously, we've got a world where the women are subservient or they're gone, and the men are seemingly going, well, I've got more status than you, therefore I will treat any man I see as lower than me as I would have treated a woman some time ago.
Yeah.
And watching how patriarchy is good for no one.
Indeed. And yeah, it is that alongside these sort of tales of trying to find pride and womanhood in non-standard womanhood. It's the being XYZ does not make me any less deserving of womanhood. Be it explorations of what it is like being a plus-size woman or an older woman or a trans woman.
Because we do, at the end of Volume 2, get to understand that Bitch Planet also has a trans wing.
Yeah.
And that's initially sort of, they're going to tear each other apart and that's going to be the end of everything and you're going to basically be killing yourselves by letting the trans women out. And there is some fighting, but some of that is still to do with the guards.
Yeah.
Because it's quite chaotic in those last few sections. And, we're also, in that way, getting a whole bit of story about a character finding their sibling.
Yeah.
That they were in the trans wing of the same prison planet. And seemingly that's where Bitch Planet ended. At least the original run.
Yes.
And then it moves on to Triple Feature, which appropriately you got Volume 1 of.
Yeah, I've read before, but I've never had physically, and I wanted to have physically. And
I was looking this up,
it seems like it was a reread.
2007, 2009. The original run, and then Triple Feature was 2016, 2017, I think. Which is weird, because I'd always thought you'd been into it for way longer.
So I'd been aware of it and enjoyed the first couple of things, and then it was a weirdly sporadic series, but I love a lot of the stuff that comic does. In one of the volumes there is an exploration of a woman who has decided to be a prison guard on Bitch Planet.
Yes.
And, like, what does it take for a woman to want to be complicit in the subjugation of other women? And that sort of, what kind of woman wants to be in that position of power of, yes, I'm in a system that oppresses women, but by being the oppressor within the system, I get a modicum more power. It's the leopards will eat my face last. I'll vote for the leopards eating faces party as long as they let me go last in the line.
Yeah.
I really like Bitch Planet.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
That whole character going from prison guard to inmate within the course of a few stories is also an interesting development, and then finding the layers and layers of that as well.
Because again, ultimately, that kind of power, you are still seen by the power structure as the thing that you are, the should be oppressed, and you only get to hold on to that power for so long.
Oh yes. Yeah, really enjoyed that. And then I started reading I Hate Fairyland.
Yes!
Which is a comic book series that I had sort of seen in passing. I think I've seen it displayed at MCM Comic Con a few times and gone, that art style looks interesting. But also, it is the same problem I always have at Comic Con of, yes, the artist or author of this is sitting there behind this booth, to meet fans and sign things and obviously sell copies of their book. I don't want to sort of go over there, have a look at their book, and go, it's not for me, in front of them. Because then I feel like I owe them an explanation. I read 2.5 volumes of this. It's way more violent than I expected.
Yeah, for anyone who knows nothing about it, a little girl gets transported to another world. It's supposed to be a very short little quest and then she'll go home.
It's supposed to be a very simple, like, you solve these couple of riddles. But she has no patience for riddles, so she just murders everything.
And oops, now she's been 13 for 40 years or whatever, and this world sure is where she's forced to exist.
And meanwhile, many of the people who inhabit Fairyland are not happy about her rampage of destruction. And, and the plots that the Fairy Queen comes up with to try and basically get rid of Gertrude or replace her and have somebody else come and do her quest for her and sort of end the Gertrude's reign of terror. Things get really chaotic towards the or at the end of the first volume, because what had been sort of holding everything in place suddenly changes and Gertrude's position changes quite dramatically. And then you spend the first half of Volume 2 going, oh, she's fucking everything up on a much more global scale than it was before. I think the first volume opens with her killing the moon. Just like, I'm tired of the moon narrating. I will kill you now. Stop. I can hear everything you're saying about my life. Stop it. So it's that kind of chaos, her misunderstanding riddles or just not being willing to listen to them properly, and then just going out and murdering tons of fairy creatures. Initially I was a bit like Star Trek Lower Decks Season 1. Just like, this feels like it's just like being over the top and brutal for no good reason, in a way that I'm sure 20-something me would have loved and been like, haha, so edgy. But it does seem to have settled down a bit. I'm now about halfway through Volume 3, and Gertrude's trying to be good. Seemingly that's not going well, and she's just kidnapped a baby. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, it's been nice to sit down and read some comic books, because I've never really done well trying to read comic books off a screen, but for some reason tablet is just different screen enough that I can just sort of comfortably sit on a sofa and curl up and read comic book for a while. What about you? Have you listened or watched anything else?
No, I think that's about it for me.
Well then,
time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, I've been brainstorming ways to get people to be less angry at us.
Right.
Because that seems to be like an eternal problem right now.
Yeah, I miss it when they just threw money at us
Yeah.
and left it at that.
And I don't want to have to do anything where, like, we change our corporate behavior. Because
Oh,
our
hell
current
no.
corporate behavior gets us money.
Corporate behavior goes in, money comes out.
And, you know, I thought about just, like, changing our messaging so we don't talk about the bad stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to remember, because we love the bad stuff we're doing.
I love the bad stuff. It makes me feel good inside.
Right, I love talking about the bad stuff we're doing, but I don't
Yeah.
like that they know that we're doing the bad stuff.
Yeah.
So I come up with maybe a solution. I want to hear me out on this.
Right.
What if we put out a press release where we say, hey, when we say those bad words that we're not meant to admit to doing things,
Right.
actually, when we say those words, it means something good. And we give a little glossary of like, you hear us say that we're doing AI? Actually, that's accredited interns.
Yeah, I mean, not credited, accredited. That's different.
Yeah, they we gave them a little
This says intern.
This says intern. Yeah, we have accredited interns.
Yeah.
So when we say we're farming out all of our development work to AI, they can go, the interns are getting an opportunity to do work on the job. That's the fact they're using lots of AI sounds very good to us.
Right. Now it should.
Yeah. I got another one.
Yeah.
Layoffs. We love layoffs. Is that us firing a bunch of people? No. That's when we relax the working schedule. We as bosses lay off on the tight deadlines.
Yeah, I love
that's
it when
nice
I don't have
workers.
to do tight deadlines. I think that's great.
Exactly. So if we were doing a bunch of layoffs, that's the thing to be celebrated.
Yeah.
You want me to see if I got another one, or you want to?
I'm gonna try one. What about crunch?
Okay.
That's when we get a round of like tortillas.
Oh yeah. Crunchy tortillas.
Crunchy tortillas. Maybe we'll even throw some cheese dust, some caffeinated cheese dust on there. And that's it. That's a little gift for the coders.
A little dinner party for the coders.
1 packet of Doritos for the entire coding floor.
Yum yum.
Yum yum. Crunch crunch. Crunch crunch. Crunch
and
crunch.
we're definitely not making the work 23-hour
crunch,
days.
Crunch crunch.
Crunch crunch crunch.
Crunch crunch crunch.
Yeah, see, and then we can still say we're doing AI and layoffs and crunch, and everyone.
We are.
Yeah, but they'll be like, oh, that means they're doing good.
Yeah, so come join us for the AI crunch layoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a fucking genius.
I know.
Oh, thank you for coming today. Please take a seat.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you're here for the job of head of scheduling.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes, now I've been looking at your CV here, and I'm not really seeing any appropriate skills here. What makes you think that you'd be good at this sort of work? I mean, it does require a lot of time management, a lot of interaction with lots of different people, and making sure different calendars are all connected together. What makes you think you can do this?
Well, look, I recognise that I don't have any, formal job experience in this area.
We noticed that too.
But I am a diary keeper for a polycule of 15 people. Most of whom have ADHD.
Oh.
Several of whom are parents.
Oh.
And we've stayed together for 8 years.
You may be too qualified for this job. How do you feel about an executive position? Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Racial Justice Warriors.
Racial Justice Warriors?
Yeah. Alright, mate. Happy New Year and something.
Happy New Year to you.
Did you have a good GDP?
Oh, I had a pretty decent one. Pretty decent one yourself.
Yeah, well, wrapped up warm mostly and watched TV with fancy cheeses.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I did an awful lot of nothing and it was great.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Apart from that, what's on your mind, mate? What are you pondering?
I mean, look, I stayed largely away from the internet during the time off. It was
very
lovely.
wise, very
and I
wise,
came back to the internet just in time to find out that America had gone into another country and kidnapped their president, and we're not even pretending it was about anything other than wanting oil.
No, and that it strikes me as another one of those things where I remember years ago seeing someone talking about why the British don't like Trump. And a lot of that is just she lacks, any charm or guile or anything that might make him interesting.
He lacks the subtlety to attempt to hide the bullshit he's doing.
Yeah, I'm doing a terrible thing, and I am so great that I don't have to hide it because I have a cult.
He's very clear what he's doing is he's repeating the Iraq War playbook. But at least with the Iraq War, the attempt was to put up the face of, it's about finding weapons of mass destruction. We've got to find the weapons of mass destruction.
Well, yeah.
We've got to find the weapons of mass destruction.
He did label something weapons of mass destruction, but he labelled it fentanyl.
Well, yes, specifically, a couple of boats with like 3 or 4 people on them that might, maybe, probably not, there's no proof, but maybe had fentanyl on them.
I mean, we already know that the fentanyl hasn't been coming from Venezuela.
Well, exactly, but the boats are weapons of mass destruction, except the second that he'd gotten control of Venezuela, or whatever, he basically dropped the weapons of mass destruction bit. It was just like, well, we're here for the oil, they've got so much oil, we're
giving it back to our companies who
we're going to be restructuring the oil.
Out.
And look, this could all be true, while it can also be true that Maduro, the president of Venezuela, is a dictator who was doing terrible things. And, it can simultaneously be true that getting him out of power could, in theory, lead to a transfer of power to leaders who are not as terrible as him. But that does not justify a nation like the United States unilaterally deciding we're going to do a secret op and just kidnap a leader and then
claim that we are in charge of the country.
Yeah, because it would be one thing if Trump had been like, kidnap Maduro out of the country and like put him on trial in the US and allow Venezuela to have open elections and decide their own replacement leader outside of this dictator. That would be one thing. But he basically went straight to, and the United States will run Venezuela and it will be run by the United States for however long we sort of see fit.
I was genuinely expecting to see, like, within the following days straight after that, him to have signed all of the oil reserves over to himself as a person rather than to the US.
Yeah.
So that if he does ever step down out of being president, and I suspect that might be less likely than anyone would hope, that he'll be like, well, I'm still making huge amounts of money of all the things I personally gave myself while I was in charge.
Yeah, because, like, there is no attempt to pretend that this is, the charitable interpretation of it, which is trying to take a corrupt dictator out of power for the good of a nation. No, he's not doing this for the good of Venezuela. He's doing this for America to own, I believe, the largest crude oil reserve known to exist on the planet in Venezuela. I believe this is the largest known deposit of crude oil on the planet.
The largest remaining, yeah.
Largest remaining. And, this is very clearly the US going, we have the power to just sort of strong-arm another country into letting us take all their oil.
I mean, he's still going on about Greenland, so...
Oh, God, yeah. World events are bloody fucking exhausting, right?
Indeed. In many ways, I always thought, when I was younger, that I would prefer it if these cunts would just say what they are outright. And here we have someone who is just saying what he's doing outright. And I do actually think it's worse. I was like, wait, at least have the decency to say, no, we're here for the oil, the mineral resources, whatever else. And what they were saying was, we're here for weapons, we're here for a brutal dictator, we're here for... No, that wasn't never what they're doing. Now that they're just saying outright, with this charmless cunt in charge, it just feels so much worse.
It feels incredibly defeating to see someone just admit the terrible evil thing they're doing for the terrible evil reasons they're doing it. Like that they're just like, no, we just overthrew a nation because we wanted to take their oil.
Yeah, and then so much of the rest of the world not responding immediately with, that's not okay.
I'd hoped we'd see a response from other nations purely because Trump is willing to kidnap a world leader because he wants their oil, to be a thing that would get other world leaders to go,
he might just do that to us if he wants something our country has. He might just take me.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say, maybe that's a line too far. Maybe we don't do that.
No, maybe.
But nope.
Nope. The American Empire is expanding again.
Indeed. The world's bloody tiring.
Yeah, and here we are, only at the start of the year.
Oh, merry 2026.
Indeed, fancy young mate.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. Right, get on, mate. Get on. Oh, I think I'm going to run off and join a cooperative.
Oh, sounds great. Sounds good.
So, new year, new you, new website? No, old website. Where people find things.
Patreon.com/LauraKBuzz. That's where you find the stuff, what I'm up to.
All the things.
What does that stuff include? I don't know, there'll be accessibility, Control-Alt-Access, Dice Funk, all sorts of other bits. If you're someone who is on my Discord, we're doing Fantasy Critic for 2026. That's that thing where we try and predict at the start of the year what the review scores of the year are going to be. We just finished the 2025 one. I came in third. I'd have come in first if I hadn't counterpicked Deltarune, because I assumed that it wouldn't get review scores because it wasn't going to be a full game by 2025. Nope, they reviewed it when Chapter 4 out of 7 came out, and that screwed me out of first place.
Rude.
I gotta learn lessons from that this year. We're going to be running that, so if you are listening to this when it first goes up, there will still probably be a couple of days to get involved if you want to jump in on the 2026 one of that. What about you? Where are you out on the internet?
Patreon.com/StonedMonkeyRadio. As little as $1 a month can help me keep doing these things. Now that holiday is over, I shall surely return to doing Human Tolerant News as well, with Lauren and Alice. I believe they have finally got their butts episode sorted, so they got their butts in gear. Ha! That is exciting stuff. And, join the ADHD parade as we talk mostly about burrs. What burr do today? I don't know. But yeah, that's me. Laura,
Yeah.
will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.